The new Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie looks to be incredible, and it's getting a massive and frankly absurd amount of praise and buzz. But I'm still just not feeling it, and I want to explain why. We do it for the fans. What's up, everybody? It's Josh. Welcome back to the den. I hope you're okay with this different kind of formatted video.
Are you having any negative thoughts?
Frankly, I have so many thoughts, so many pieces of content that I want to make, so many things I want to chime in on, that it might just be easier to sit in front of the camera here in the studio and just talk to you guys about some cool things. We'll still be doing the Nerdy News Rundown with the green screen and all that fancy stuff, but I'll probably be doing a lot more videos just like this. Let me know in the comment section if you are okay with that. I really hope you are, because like I said, I got a lot of videos to make. So I had several people reach out to me and ask, Josh, why are you not talking about the Joker movie? The Joker movie is blowing up right now. And frankly, we get a ton of people all the time asking us why we don't, in general, cover DC a little bit more. Well, this video should serve to sort of explain a little bit about that, but I should take a moment here to tell you that executive producer Alex and myself are actually working on our first video together, and it is a DC focused video. It is actually our theory and strategies on how they could sort of save the DC universe or save DC films and change it around over there. So look for that video soon, where we're going to put a lot of research in, show you a bunch of crazy things that kind of tell you why we think DC is kind of in trouble with their DC films and what they could do to change it around. But I think the reason I'm not that pumped about the Joker movie and the reason I don't cover DC quite a bit here on the channel actually sort of are the same. They both have a lot to do with each other. So let me try to explain this a little bit more, and it might open your eyes to why we don't really talk about DC that much over here anymore. Okay, so look, I saw all the Joker buzz. I saw that it got the 8-minute standing ovation at the Venice Film Festival. I've seen all the positive reviews. I see that it's projected to maybe even open at $100 million. And I'm excited about that. Like, I'm a fan of comic book stuff, so I like it, okay? As a fan of very artistic types of filmmakers, the film student in me, the guy that fell in love with film a long time ago and took a lot of those skills into what I do even now, man, I am really excited. This seems really amazing. But the nerd in me continuously just comes back to one singular question. Where the f is Batman in this movie? And let's start by actually answering that question. It's not rhetorical. Batman is not in this movie. This story and this movie take place separate from anything else in the DC universe, and they're really standalone. This is a standalone Arturist take on the Joker character. Now, there is nothing wrong with that intrinsically. I think we need stuff like that. I think we need a lot of different interpretations of these characters. It just adds to the flavor. But the problem with Joker is when you look past this film to try to see what's behind it, if you try to find the steadfast canon, the actual canon for the DC characters you know and love, that's not to be found anywhere either. You see, I can't personally separate the Joker movie from the bad taste I have in my mouth from the DC brand. Over the last couple of years, DC has just fumbled and fumbled, and one of the most frustrating aspects of this fumble is they try to act like it's not happening. Like the DCEU itself, right? That word, that acronym, DC Extended Universe, was actually rejected by the people within DC Films. They literally came out and said, we never called it that. That's what journalists call it, and it's not even that. NANI? And you see, that's branding 101. And the DC Universe or DC Films still have a branding association. It's just not a positive one, right? It's this association of the company that hired The Rock to be Black Adam like a freaking decade ago. It was the company that used to go around to every single Comic-Con and fire shot a bajillion logos of movies that we at one point just became incredibly skeptical that they ever see the light of day. You see, there's no actual steadfast DC canon of these heroes to juxtapose this Elseworld against, right? There's actually nothing there. The whole DC universe is elsewhere. And so in some ways, Joker can be just as celebrated and acclaimed and held up by fans as saying, this is our stuff, but because it doesn't connect to anything and they will never spin out a universe from it, it just loses a lot of its value. Let's circle back to that question that I asked. Where the f is Batman? And here's the thing. If this goes way beyond just my nerdy need for Batman and Joker to be intrinsically connected, even though that's totally a thing, and it's really difficult for me to understand how you even have a Joker without Batman. It's part of the reason why I didn't like Gotham as a show at all, and I never really gave it a fair shake, because the thing with Batman is that his villains are sort of created by him. There's this really weird psychological relationship going on between Batman and his villains. But I digress. Like I said, it's not even about that necessarily. When you ask the question, where is Batman, and you say, oh, he's not in this movie, that is clearly because Warner Brothers decided he shouldn't be in this movie. And I'll bring up a bunch of different points in just a second that more or less prove that this is what happened, that Warner Brothers did not want Batman to be in this film. But if somebody out there tries to show me somewhere online where Todd Phillips or Joaquin Phoenix say that they didn't want to use the Batman character, or that this film never intended to have Batman in it, I'm sorry, I will never ever believe anything someone says with that regard. Even if you literally show me a clip of Todd Phillips saying that, which I haven't even looked for, but if he has said this, I don't believe it. And here's why. As a creative person, if you have the interest in a character like the Joker and you want to tell a story like the one they're trying to tell there, and just because of the artistic oomph you can do to it, you will want to put Batman in that story as well. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me that a creative person would say, hey, here's this character, I want to tell a story on this character, and then, oh yeah, this artistic thing I want to do, yeah, I don't really want to do it with the most popular pop culture character of all time. I'm not really interested in that. Let's just get one half of the puzzle here. Like, I'm damn sure in their quiet moments, I'm damn sure in the meetings that led up to them getting this film greenlit, they talked about what they would do with the Batman character. And for God's sakes, they used Thomas Wayne's character in this movie as well. And even if they were going to do something really liberal with Batman, something that I, as a huge Batman fan, might have a hard time like getting into, at least I would have respected the fact that this vision is a total and complete elseworld of these two characters, which I have all this attachment to, thereby, gaining a lot of value with me. That's what would happen in this scenario. And as for why Warner Brothers didn't want Batman to be in this film, it's pretty obvious. There's two reasons. Number one, they don't want to dilute their branding, and they don't want to confuse people. If there's a Batman in this movie, and then in a couple years we get the Matt Reeves Batman, and then there's a Batman there, they're afraid of confusing audiences. But I guess that doesn't apply to Jokers, because there's another Joker out there most recently done. They don't have a problem with confusing people like that. And we know that this is how they treat characters over at Warner Brothers because of examples from the CW universe. I mean, not only are they not allowed to have Batman in there, finally starting to break that rule a little bit and have like Batman and have Superman possibly show up in these shows, but it took that level of success for them to get to bend on their own rule. We do know that they've removed characters like the Suicide Squad that was in the Arrowverse when the Suicide Squad movie was coming out, and this was the same reason. They didn't want to confuse and dilute their brand. And on a total and complete side note, it is absolutely insane to me that they have the best thing currently in DC live action, and that is Greg Berlanti and what he's doing with the Arrowverse. I think it's literally been the best thing they've done in a long, long time with DC, the continuity, everything. It's brilliant. And they handcuff that guy. They creatively handicap that man so that they can continue to produce these lackluster films that don't win anybody over from the fan base. It just blows my mind, their thinking. And they also did this with the Bat-Wang controversy. If you don't know what I'm talking about, there was a recent imprint at DC Comics called Black Label, which might even be sort of the label that this Joker film comes out in, where it's like an alternate universe, sort of darker, more mature take on these characters. Well, in either case, they showed Batman's private parts in one of these issues. It blew up. It was very controversial. And then Warner Brothers came in and was like, what are you doing to our Batman character, one of our bread and butter IPs? Stop doing this, and now we're going to be really restrictive on what you can do with the Batman character. I mean, this is literally what they did with Justice League. Like, if we got to talk about Justice League, we got to talk about it. This is what Warner Brothers did. They literally hacked apart the darker, more mature version of a movie that Zack Snyder had and brought in Joss Whedon to try to just make this vanilla, cookie cutter Frankenstein of a film that was really like a DC movie that had turned into a Marvel movie in the worst possible way. And the ironic thing is they've done all of this with branding in mind. Like, that's what they're trying to do, is actually fix their branding problems. It's just simply hilariously making their branding way worse, because at the end of the day, what people think about when they think about DC movies and what people think about when they think about Warner Brothers and just everything that's going on with DC right now, that is what the branding is. And I don't know if you've noticed, but it's not that positive out there right now for DC. So there it is. I mean, I know it's probably an unpopular opinion here, but you know, despite me being excited for Joaquin Phoenix's portrayal of the Joker, I'm just bummed. I'm bummed that this might be the first great DC movie we've had since the Nolan era. And what sucks about that is, man, these are great characters. Like, these are great characters that deserve to be out there. And for a while, DC was doing their own thing with like the darker thing, and they decided that wasn't working and decided to change it. I just feel like they're learning a lot of the wrong lessons from their mistakes, and the Joker is almost going to be a success because Warner Brothers didn't think much of it. Like, I've heard this movie only has like a $35 million budget, and it's really just a character study. So that's really weird. It will probably be amazing, but it's probably amazing because Warner Brothers didn't really touch it a lot because they thought it wasn't valuable. So maybe I'm alone in these thoughts, and maybe you guys will dislike this video into oblivion, but whatever you are thinking about how I just can't get into the Joker movie, let me know. Whether you vehemently disagree with me or whether you kind of feel where I'm at with this, whatever your thoughts are about this, let me know in the comments section below. As I said before, we are looking to do more DCs in the future. Wonder Woman 1984 comes out next year. I love the first Wonder Woman. I'm very excited about that. We're going to be doing that video with Alex where we talk about how we think we can sort of shift around and fix DC films. And I personally believe that the Matt Reeves Batman is sort of the 2.0. That film will hopefully launch a new shared universe for DC. And who knows, maybe we'll get a bunch of updates about other cool movies coming out as well. So, you know, look for those videos here if you're a DC fan. I'm a DC fan. It's just we haven't had a lot to talk about lately, and there's been some kind of negative stuff to talk about, so I haven't been too crazy about it. But all right, that's going to do it for this one. As I always say, I hope you're having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I'll see you in the next video.